and we'll have Danella get us started.
Good morning and welcome, everybody. My name is Danella Parks. For those of you that I haven't met yet, welcome and welcome to some older friends and some newer friends. I'm excited today to welcome you. And I'm joining you today from the traditional territories of the Lekwungen speaking peoples and represented close to my home and work, Songhees and Songhees Nations and Esquimalt Nations. And I just want to acknowledge that we live in a beautiful territory here on Southern Vancouver Island, and we're here today to discuss a great opportunity to bring the Schools Out program from United Way BC. And I'm joined today by colleagues Tricia Duclos, Kevin Yang, and Kate Ferguson, who will be joining us shortly to talk about the Schools Out program, which is a donor funded program that's offered across the province, and now we have an exciting opportunity to bring it to Southern Vancouver Island. So I also just wanted to, sorry, Kevin, before you go for the map. So for those of you who may not have been on the Native Land digital map box, this is a great opportunity to look at some different resources that are available to you. It's Native-Land. If you Google that, it will take you to a worldwide map. So no matter where you are traveling or doing or playing across the globe, you're able to find some resources and connect to some information. So just a really interesting resource for people to tap into. All right, so over to you, Tricia.
Thanks so much, Danella. And hi, everyone. Good morning. My name's Trisha, and I work very closely with my colleague Kevin Yang on United Way BC's child and youth portfolio, and that includes the Schools Out initiative. And we're really excited to be telling you and sharing some more details about the Schools Out initiative and the opportunity to apply to be an implementing partner for this program within the Southern Vancouver Island region. So, Schools Out is a program that provides a safe and structured environment for children between the ages of 6 to 12, the middle years age range, during very crucial and critical after school hours. There would be also the inclusion and access to healthy snacks or culturally nutritious food, as well as engagement in the Schools Out after school program in different developmentally appropriate activities. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that kids who take part in the Schools Out program are healthy, connected, and thriving, not just today, but really setting them up for success for a brighter tomorrow. And there are a few key components I want to address here. So, number one being why ages 6 to 12? Well, the middle years is actually a really crucial developmental period for kids to build those foundational skills that will really help them in the future. Skills in emotional regulation, in social interaction, and in cognitive development as well. This is also a critical time to ensure that positive experiences are available for kids that can contribute to their long term success in education, in mental health and wellness, and ultimately propelling them towards success in future career or school opportunities as well. Now, why the after school time period? Schools Out exists as an investment because the after school, those critical after school hours, have been identified as a vulnerable time for children. This is because there are many risk factors that are in play in this time. That can include social isolation, it can include a lack of supervision or even engagement in unsafe activities. And finally, Schools Out programs, after school programs with the Schools Out initiative, are meant to take place within a group setting. Why is that? Well, it encourages peer interaction. It provides that opportunity for kids to cooperate and build teamwork skills. It's important for kids to be building a sense of community and belonging, especially in developing pro social relationships with non related adults and peers and youth mentors, which is really crucial for emotional well being. If we can head to the next slide here. So, some details about Schools Out and this open call for proposals. We're inviting all of you on this call, or those of you who are watching this recording afterwards, to submit a proposal to become a Schools Out after school program implementing partner within the Southern Vancouver Island region. These proposals are going to be evaluated based on multiple factors that will also include demonstrated community need, as well as alignment with core ingredients and requirements for what makes up a Schools Out program. In terms of accepting proposals, we're going to be accepting proposals for two different streams. Stream one is specifically for non-Indigenous led organizations. So that can include organizations that have a charitable registered number or are a charitable registered agency. It can include nonprofits, school districts, BC societies, or grassroots groups. Stream two is specifically for proposals from Indigenous led organizations, and that can include Indigenous governing bodies or communities like land based nations, band or tribal council, government or self governing First Nation, or Métis Nation chartered communities, societies, or associations. So, again, also including nonprofit societies or grassroots groups, but those that are Indigenous led. With the program proposals, we can accept one proposal per agency or organization, or land-based nation or grassroots group. And each proposal can be up to $70,000. And we'll talk a bit more about budget and some of the particulars there later on in this presentation. Next slide. So, what are some of those core ingredients and requirements of a Schools Out program? A Schools Out program should engage children in the middle years, between the ages of 6 to 12, from priority populations. And this can include those children who are Indigenous, who are newcomers or refugees to Canada, those who present as racialized, face low income barriers, or present with a disability or neurodiverse ability. The program should be offered for free or at a highly subsidized rate for the children to be able to access and attend. The program should also operate as a registered program. And one of the things that the reviewers of the program proposals will be looking for is clear demonstration on your registration plan and process uh, for the program, as well as what your waitlist management process will look like. So this is not a drop-in program. The program site should run at least twice a week. This is to ensure regular connection and consistent engagement for the cohort of children that you seek to engage. And each session must include a snack. I'm sure many folks on this call have engaged with kids. Not really fun to try and help kids learn and grow on an empty stomach. So, got to make sure that those kids are fed and watered. The program should also take place in an accessible location, or that transportation component should be thought of and communicated within the program proposal. With these program proposals, we're also looking at community collaboration, and we strongly encourage that. For Stream 1 in particular, there will be preference shown for applications that demonstrate a clear partnership between the implementing partner, so that could be the nonprofit, the agency, society that is delivering the Schools Out program with their local school district. And the program activities and experiences for the kids must focus on five core developmental domains: identity development, social and relational well-being, community engagement and or land stewardship, health and wellness, and skills and competencies.
Mm.
And we're going to be speaking to this a little bit more on the next slide here. All right, so what you are seeing here is our Schools Out theory of change. And in a nutshell, a theory of change is a visual document that shows the relationship between what a program does and what it hopes to accomplish as a result. And this illustration that you're seeing here is designed to visually demonstrate how we, along with our community partners, strive to create a community of support that encourages positive change for children between the ages of 6 to 12. And so if we head over to the program elements section, so each Schools Out program, it should include these program elements. And first of all, I would like to speak to positive role models. So this is where there should be the inclusion of adult program staff, youth mentors, community members, and in some cases, elders and knowledge holders that help model positive pro-social relationships and behaviors for children while also offering encouragement and relational support. As I mentioned earlier, consistent engagement with participating children is a key program element as well. So that's one of the reasons each program site should be running at least twice a week to provide that ongoing and consistent connection for the children. The programs should be taking place within safe and welcoming local community spaces. In some cases, this could include a school space. It could include a more communal space, um, like a community center or a church, some kind of community accessible space where children can access it very easily. There should also be the inclusion of healthy snacks to address food security, and that can also include other culturally appropriate nutrition as well. Each program should include some component of family, school, and community engagement because Schools Out programs that are holistically supported by different communities of support tend to actually be the most successful in ensuring that there's that active engagement between the kids and other key community members. There should also be the factoring in of strong community partnership. And as I mentioned with Stream One and that preference for engaging with school districts, partnerships with school districts, school counselors, community workers can really help ensure that the kids who most need access to a quality after school program are able to have that access and be identified to take part in a Schools Out program. Alignment with school district curriculum is really helpful here, and that can include in developing numeracy and literacy core competencies. And of course, the program element of United Way BC funding, as well as the capacity building, training, and resourcing that United Way lines up and ensures that frontline staff from different agencies have access to so they can bring that training back to their Schools Out programs as they implement them. The next section here that we're going to speak to is what the local program sites deliver. And so with Schools Out programs, we're looking at a few key things here. First, that structured group and child-centered learning activity, activities that align with school curriculum or different core competencies, but also really promoting participation and building specific skills for a lot of kids. The inclusion of reflection and mental well-being activities for kids that are non-clinical, that incorporate fun and engaging activities for kids to promote that holistic health and providing kids opportunities to reflect, develop coping strategies, and cultural learning as well. There's also the inclusion of community service projects. So this is where we're looking at projects to take place within your Schools Out program that involve children working alongside community members or really thinking about their local community or neighborhood that help the children give back to their local community. And a great example of this can include neighborhood cleanup, place and land-based learning. So the inclusion of outdoor experiences, neighborhood activities. Some of these can include a focus on Indigenous ecological knowledge, nature walks, just to name a few. The inclusion of physical and recreational activities. So structured and intentional recreational activities that help the kids understand active participation, exploration, and a healthy lifestyle. And of course, shared cultural learning and expression. So these are activities that can celebrate diverse cultural backgrounds of each of the children and involve the children in planning and participating in communal cultural activities or other activities that would be really important for them to self-express. And now, as if we scroll over to the right, I'm going to be going a bit deeper into our five core outcome domains. Now, these are the five core outcome domains where we really want to see examples of experiences and activities that help the kids develop positive changes. So the first one here is identity development. This is where we want to see examples of activities and experiences within your Schools Out program that provide kids with an increased recognition of their personal strengths, personal values, building that self-esteem, understanding what goals are and the ability to set goals and achieve them. uh, Activities that give kids an increased knowledge and respect for different cultural values, traditions, languages, providing kids with an improved sense of pride in different cultures or heritages, and ultimately activities and experiences that help provide children with an enhanced capacity to self reflect. What we find is that when children take part in activities and experiences that around these core competencies, what it can lead to is improved self awareness of different cultural identities as well as personal identity. It can result in increased confidence in a child's own individuality, enhance their cultural competency, and enhance their self efficacy so that children can pursue goals and advocate for themselves. Ultimately, what this would lead to is as young adults or even as older youth, providing these kids with a stronger foundation for lifelong self-confidence and resiliency in the face of different challenges. So that's our first outcome domain, identity development. Our second outcome domain here is social and relational well-being. This is where we want to see examples of activities and experiences in your Schools Out program that help children enhance their social skills, skills that can include active listening, empathy, and conflict resolution. What we find is when children take part in those kinds of experiences, it can lead to greater interpersonal skill development, enhancing children's abilities to develop and build friendships, to take part in team experiences, and in community engagement. It can improve trust with family members, with peers, other staff, non related adults, folks within their school or wider community. It can enhance for children their ability to navigate different social dynamics and to contribute to group success. And ultimately, it can strengthen bonds for those children who take part in your Schools Out program and other family, non related peers, and community members. Ultimately, what this can lead to as young adults or older youth is for these children to have an enhanced development and stability of different meaningful relationships that can foster for them connection, emotional security, and belonging. So that's our second outcome domain, social and relational well-being. The third outcome domain here is community engagement and or land stewardship. So this is where we want to see examples of activities and experiences within your Schools Out program that provide children with increased knowledge of environmental principles. This can be rooted in cultural and traditional Indigenous ecological practices as well. Experiences and activities that help strengthen children's connection to the land or to their local neighborhood through different hands-on activities. And some of these activities could include gardening, foraging, restoration projects, community cleanups, And we want to also see examples of activities and experiences that provide children with an increased understanding of different community roles and civic responsibilities through the exposure to different guest and community speakers or field trips. So, really thinking about exposure to new places and new faces for the children. What we find is when children get to take part in these kinds of experiences, it can increase their participation in community service projects, their willingness to give back, increasing that sense of empathy and desire to volunteer, increasing a sense of environmental stewardship, and enhancing children's sense of responsibility towards community well-being as well as sustainability. Ultimately, what we hope to see is that as adults or even as older youth, for these kids, it gives them an increased sense of community engagement as well as that fortitude to take on leadership roles within different community focused initiatives. So that's our third outcome domain, community engagement and or land stewardship. Now, our fourth outcome domain here is that of health and wellness. This is where we want to see examples of activities and experiences within your Schools Out program that provide children with an increased personal ownership over their health and wellness. This can involve improving their physical and nutritional health through participating in different activities. It can also involve enhancing their emotional well being through different mindfulness activities or helping them develop coping skills with different emotions. And also, we want to see examples of activities that help children not just articulate different emotions and feelings, but also learning how to regulate those emotions in a safe and supportive environment. Ultimately, what this would lead to is improved holistic health for these children along many different dimensions: physical, mental, nutritional, emotional, and spiritual, and building greater resiliency to manage different challenges that can come up in life, as well as maintaining a balanced lifestyle. As young adults or older youth, what we hope to see is for these children a stronger foundation that's been built so that they can manage long term physical health and mental wellness challenges, or also reduce the risk of any chronic issues that could come up. So that's the fourth outcome domain, health and wellness. And now the fifth and final outcome domain is that of skills and core competencies. So this is where we want to see examples of activities or experiences within your Schools Out program that increase the development of different skills and core competencies like literacy, like numeracy, and creative skills. And this can be through different targeted workshops or even mentorship. We want to see the opportunity for children to increase their enthusiasm for exploring new places, having exposure to new faces, and curiosity for new and different areas of learning. And that could include science, technology, math, the arts. What we hope to see is that by taking part in these kinds of experiences, it'll improve for the kids their ability to set and achieve different short-term goals within different projects and activities, but also give them a more diverse skill set and understanding that can help support their academic success, their personal development, and future career readiness, and also ultimately increasing their interest in different creative, academic, and recreational pursuits, and really contributing to a journey of lifelong learning for these kids. And ultimately, as adults or older youth, what this would lead to is improved proficiency in different essential life skills and also setting them on the path where they're prepared to problem solve, use their critical thinking skills, and adapt as well. And I recognize that was a mouthful, a lot of details. Luckily, we've recorded this, so you can come back to this recording at any time so that you can dive deeper into those different outcome domains. We will also ensure that we are holding time towards the end of this session for any questions or curiosities that come up from folks as well. All right, let's head to the next slide here, and I'll pass it to my colleague, Kevin.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Trisha. So now we'll be talking about the important dates for this open grant call. So on Monday, January 19th, which is next Monday at 9 a.m., the application will be open online. And the deadline for this application is going to be Tuesday, March 3rd at noon. And from this deadline cannot be extended. And we really strongly encourage folks here to apply and submit their application early so that we avoid situations like maybe at Tuesday, March 3rd at 11:59 a.m. where we run into any technical issues there. And the decision for this grant will be announced around late April in 2026. So what does it mean to be a Schools Out partner? So being a Schools Out partner entails that you'll be doing quarterly checking reports, and it's really meant to be just a status update so that we can hear about your successes, hear about your challenges, and see if we can brainstorm and problem solve. And these checking reports, quarterly checking reports, will be due in November and February. And in early July, that will be July 2027, we'll be asking our partners to submit a final grant report, which will be more detailed and more fulsome. Next, we also ask our partners to help us to implement the child participant surveys and also the satisfaction brainstorm surveys. These two surveys will help us to understand what the child are thinking and what their feedbacks are. And this will actually help us to think about how we can make the Schools Out program better. Next, we also have the Schools Out Community of Practice. And these are virtual meetings that we ask our partners to send at least one staff to attend. These meetings will happen in November, February, and May. Next, we also have some additional training and capacity building that's offered by United BC to our Schools Out program staff. So in the past, we offer trainings like High Five. We also offer trainings or workshops that surrounds people, topics like supporting child with neurodiversity. And last but not least, we have storytelling and recognition of the partnership with United Way BC. So storytelling is very important for us. As Daniela mentioned earlier, that the Schools Out Fund is completely made out of donor dollars, and this is storytelling is very important to help us maintain and steward those relationships with our donors. We'll be working with you, and we'll provide support on how we can do those storytellings, including filling out media consent forms and looping in our marketing to provide support. Next, we have our eligible and ineligible costs. For eligible costs, so that's related to program delivery and implementation, and this includes staffing. So we're thinking, for example, here would be your frontline staff, your program leaders. Next, we have program supplies. So, if you need supplies to run your program in terms of arts and crafts, if you need some equipment for your physical activity, that's part of the program supplies. And food and snack costs. As Trisha mentioned earlier, part of the program element is to provide a healthy snack. So of course, that's can be part of your budget. And we also honorarium is also an eligible cost. So honorarium, so for example, if you would like to invite a guest speaker into your program to talk about a special topic, and if you would like to provide an honorarium for that special guest, the honorarium is part of the eligible cost. In terms of ineligible costs, we have the admission cost that's above your 10% threshold. For example, if you are submitting an application for $50,000 Then 10% of that would be 5,000, and that would be the underwritten costs that we're able to provide for you. Capital costs. So, for example, here, if you would like to build a gym to run your program in, unfortunately, that cost for the gym we are not able to provide. And also, ineligible costs include daycare, childcare, virtual or online only, and one-on-one tutoring. So, if your program is going to be virtual only, or if it provides one-on-one tutoring support, unfortunately, those costs are not covered. And last but not least, we have apparel and swag. So this is, for example, here would be anything that requires any customized logos. That could be T-shirts, water bottles, and unfortunately, these costs are also not eligible for the school sale grant. So next, I would like to invite my colleague Kate to talk about the actual grant application and the technology side of things.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kevin. Just give me 1 second here. Making sure I'm sharing the right screen. Everyone can see the red logo, right? Yeah, okay. So if you are a returning United Way, if you already have an existing account, you will log into our resources page as you have done in the past. You use your username and password that you've previously set up, and you'll be granted access to the granting portal. If this is the first time that your organization or yourself has needed to access the granting portal, you will click here on haven't applied before. And take a minute. And this is where you can set up a new account. So each person in the organization who will be doing any work on the grant will need their own account. And even if somebody, and especially if somebody from your organization before has left, we can't transfer the access. You will need to set up a new account yourself, and then that will be linked on the back end with the organization's account. So you will still have access to everything that the previous person had the reports and the applications for. So there are two ways that you can register. So there's my organization has a charitable registration number, or my organization does not have a charitable registration number. I would like to use my organization name or First Nation band name, pardon me. If you click on this one, you will be granted the option to enter your charity or your CRA number. Please make sure that you enter this fully and the organization name and all subsequent information fully, as this will be linked to, if you're setting up the first time, then this obviously will be the information that is linked to your account. If you're setting up your own account and your organization already has an account, these things will be linked on the back end. So we don't want to end up with you not being linked to your main account because you, I don't know, put the street address in incorrectly, something like that. Once you click next, it'll give you the information for your first name and your email address. For my organization does not have a CRA name. It's essentially the same information, apart from it doesn't have the CRA option. This will send an approval request to me. I will double check that the information is correct, that it's linked to the correct organization. If not, I will email you just to double check that you want to be linked to XYZ organization, and we can go from there. After that, you will be able to log into the portal on the main page. In a second here. I'm stopping sharing for 1 second. I'm going to change screen. So when you log in, you will get, this is the main,
Oh, Wednesday.
oh, sorry, did somebody have a question or is that, oh, okay, I think it was just unmuted. So this is the granting homepage. And you'll be able to see different options here. So like granting streams, this is where you'll click to access the Schools Out Southern Vancouver Island granting stream application. It's obviously not live right now, so we can't see it. And so there will just be a list of all open granting streams here. After you've entered a little bit of information or you've opened the granting stream, you won't go back to granting streams to access your application. You'll go to My Applications. As you can see here, I have a lot of applications open. Yours will be a little bit smaller than this. These are all my test applications that I have. So you'll be able to see all your in progress and also past applications that your organization has made. And also, when the time comes, you'll be able to access your agency reports from the My Agency Report tab at the top as well. And it will give you a list of all the agency reports that you either have pending or ones that have been done in the past as well. So I'll click on this one. So it loads up the application. One word of advice is sometimes it, like right now, it might take a few minutes or a few seconds to load. So have a little bit of patience. And hopefully it won't lead to any sort of technical difficulties. But if it does take more than a few seconds, just maybe wait for a few more seconds. So there's some information about the grant. Sorry, I'm just going to close this. So this is information which Tricia and Kevin are talking right now about the key requirements for the grant, some contact details, and the dates. You'll click next page. So this information will be pre-filled from your account. So it will have your organization name, your region, etc., your address, your charitable registration number if you have it. So this is all pre-filled from your account, your organization account. This information will be pre-filled as well. So starting from page 2 is where you'll be able to kind of start filling in your application. So you would want here the applicant information, so the primary contact for this grant application, the title, et cetera, et cetera. The signees is one thing that we want to pay close attention to, as we have a set kind of like level of signees. Sorry. So the first signee needs to be a board president, chair, chief, or a designate at the board or council level. And the second signee for the letter of agreement is the CEO, executive director, senior administrator, designate at a senior executive level. So as we've noted here, if the title is unclear or maybe differs in some way, we will double check to make sure that the person who is listed in one of these signee fields has signing authority. So it might lead to a bit of a delay in getting the LOA sent out. So please make sure that these are as complete or clear as possible. I don't know, Tricia, if you wanted to speak to that a little bit or if that's okay.
So one of the reasons why in your program proposal, we really ask you to identify who the signatory would be for your letter of agreement if your proposal is approved, and specifically at these specific levels, is because as a charitable organization, United Way BC, we do have different financial compliance obligations that we have to meet at a federal level. So one of the reasons we ask you to front load this information is so that when that approval comes through, there isn't any delay in ensuring that your letter of agreement is signed correctly by the right people, and so that the funds can be released to you as soon as possible. Now, this is one of the reasons why we also really encourage you to let people know within your organization that you're submitting a proposal or that you have been approved potentially for a proposal as well. Because when the letter of agreement is sent to folks, and this would be through their email via an Adobe e-sign, we have unfortunately seen some instances where some of those senior staff or senior folks see the letter of agreement come through, they think it's spam for some reason, and then they click decline. And I would hate for any of you on this call who have done some amazing hard work in putting together the proposals, putting together all these beautiful details about engaging kids to then end up in a place where your letter of agreement is declined and that causing a whole snafu. So really encourage you to communicate to folks and give them a heads up that you are submitting a proposal so that they aren't caught out of left field here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tricia. Okay, so this is getting more into the program information. So the proposed program project name, if you have a website, any of your social media handles, the program description, the program description, so a brief description of the program or the project, who will benefit and how, the key deliverables. So there's a few little hints there that can help you with the information that Tricia and Kevin are looking for. I'm not sure if Tricia, you want to expand on this a little bit, or if this is self-explanatory with the note.
I think this one's self-explanatory.
Okay. Sorry, lots of scrolling. So here you're going to list all the program sites. Oh, apologies. List all the program sites where the program or project will take place. So it's just a simple text box, and you can just list the program sites, the addresses. So please list your program goals. So this is how you will basically tell Tricia and Kevin what your goals are and your timelines for it. On a technical side, I'll let Tricia speak to the outcomes in a minute, but just on a technical side, these are repeatable fields. So if you have more than 2 goals that you want to put in, you can click add another response, and it will give you another one of these boxes to fill in. If, for example, you click maybe too many times and you have 1 extra box or 2 extra boxes that you don't want, you can just simply click the remove, and it will remove the boxes, because these are listed as required fields to complete. So if you add another response and you don't fill it in, it will throw up an error when you're completing it, because obviously you haven't completed some of the required fields. Tricia, I'll give you a second so you can jump on about the hint.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. So earlier, I spoke quite at length about the different outcome domains, the types of activities and experiences that we're looking for you to facilitate with the children. So this section here is where we would expect you to provide those details. So what I would recommend is, because there are 5 different outcome domains, you have 1 listed per goal or desired outcome box. And then from there, you speak to what your objective is there, what are the particular outputs or actions of any particular activities or experiences that are involved in that outcome, what your estimated timeline looks like. And then there's also an additional information box where you can include some more details. Obviously, you can go beyond the 5 outcome domains. Maybe there are other measures for success or milestones that you feel would be particularly impactful to track with the cohort of children that you're looking to engage. Maybe it's attendance. Maybe there's something else. So you can always, of course, include those as different goals and desired outcomes as well. But I would recommend ensuring that you at least have a breakdown of each of the five schools outcome domains here.
Super. Thanks, Tricia. So the rationale of the proposed program. I'm not sure, Tricia, if you want to speak about these two with the equitable access to your program and the equity lens.
So if I can just address the earlier question, the provide a brief rationale for the program project, drawing on experience, established and emerging community needs and research. This is really where you can speak to the demonstrated community need that you're seeing, why you're seeking to engage and run a schools out program in a particular community or engage a particular priority population or priority populations. And this is also where you can cite different research as well. For example, maybe you're going to be looking at the middle years development instrument and you have some particular school district level data that you're planning to cite there. Maybe there have been some other community needs cited publicly that you really want to make sure is on the radar of the grant reviewers, so that this is the box where you would speak to that. Now, this next question here, how are you ensuring that every individual has equitable access to your Schools Out program? This is where you would speak to your recruitment strategy, as well as what your waitlist management system would look like, and also speaking to the accessibility of the space or spaces that you seek to run your Schools Out program.
Okay, super. So this is the partnership page. On a technical lens, this is will have the same function as the goals page. So here, if you need to add more partnerships than are provided, you can click another response. The same thing, if you click too many times and you want to remove something, you can click remove to get rid of the box, or if you, I don't know, you made an error of some kind. Do you want to talk about partnerships, Tricia? Or
Yep, for sure. So earlier we mentioned that with Stream 1 proposals, there is a preference that the reviewers are going to be looking at for partnerships that demonstrate that collaboration with their local school district. So this is where you would include that school district partner that you're collaborating with for your Schools Out program. This is also a section where you can highlight any other partnerships that are coming into play. Maybe you have a partnership with a local business where they've agreed to donate some food or some items that are really going to be made use of. Maybe you have a partnership with your local municipality, or maybe you have a partnership with a key and core group of elders and knowledge holders within your territory that are really going to be involved in some of the workshop components. And maybe they've agreed to give their time in kind, or maybe they're engaged in a different sort of way. This is where you speak to those partnerships at a community level that are involved in supporting the existence of your Schools Out program.
so I think this might be, again, kind of self-explanatory. The main individuals who are overseeing the program, including the budget, and how are you going to measure the success of your program? Sorry. And there's another hint box here. Trisha, I'm not sure if you want to talk to measure the success.
Nope, that's straightforward.
Okay. Quickly moving along then. So I'm sure Trisha will talk a little bit more about what she's expecting in the output categories here. Again, these are just the unique individuals served, so the amount of individuals who are being served in your program. And we have a drop-down menu here of output categories that you can comment on your output participants, and some examples. Again, on a technical level, this has the same function. So you can remove, sorry, this is a long list. You can add more responses as needed. Again, these are listed as required fields. So if you don't need one, you can remove it so you don't throw up that error again.
And as Kate mentioned, there are a lot of different output categories. When you click that list, you don't have to have every single one of them within your proposal. But if there is going to be the inclusion of any of these, then please do select it and then provide those details. Two of the boxes that we're definitely going to be expecting you to select is K to 3, which means kindergarten to grade 3, or grade 4 to grade 7. And this is because we recognize you're putting a total estimate of the kids that you're engaging in the earlier section. Kate, if you scroll up. Yeah, right here of your unique individual serve. So that's your total number of kids that you're seeking to serve. But one of the things that's really helpful for us to know is approximately what are you looking at in terms of that age breakdown? Because the middle years, ages 6 to 12, is actually quite a broad range when you dial into it. So we like to know specifics when you can provide it to us.
Okay. Long scroll to the bottom. So this is just demographics of your target population or your target individuals that you're going to work with. Sorry, this is just a testing environment. So I clicked on all of them. Obviously, you would just click on the ones that are your community is representative of your community. And then the budget section. So I'll let Tricia talk about the budget in a second. Just on a technical side, please only put numbers, no commas or dollar signs, or these periods are added automatically when you put in the money amount. But if you put in commas, you put in dollar signs, like slashes, or if you want to put a range, that won't be accepted on the application, and you will get an error thrown up. So please hold numbers only. Also, the same as if your proposed amount and your expenses don't add up, this will do an automatic calculation. And if you end up with a surplus or a deficit here, it will throw up an error as well. You'll be aware because it'll have a number in here. So if you, I don't know, you mistype program staff travel, your total expenses will be off from your proposed amount. And it'll have a surplus or a deficit number in there if you've made an incorrect calculation, just so everything is adding up. Do you want to talk about the budget, Tricia?
I would really encourage folks to not sleep on the budget. Our reviewers that are involved in reading all of these proposals, many of them are very numbers oriented, and so they look for a lot of specificity in your budget section. So for an instance, if you're looking at line 200, your salaries and benefits, you can obviously include that full number of what you're looking for in your breakdown of your ask for the salaries line. But then if Kate, you can scroll down a bit. So if you go into your comment section, this is where you can provide a lot more specificity. So this would be where you would say line 200, salaries and benefits of the budget. We are planning to have X number of program coordinators and staff involved in the program. They will be paid Y number of Z hours. We will also be including this amount of dollars for their benefits or their mercs. So that kind of specificity of breakdown is really key for a lot of our reviewers. So I would encourage you to make use of the comments box here when providing that breakdown. It also signals to our reviewers that you've really thought through the implementation and delivery of the program. And that can include through hourly wages, it can include through the number of positions that you foresee needing to implement and deliver the Schools Out program in your community. It can also include other specific costs. So that would be the tip that I would give to you here.
Thanks, Tricia. Here you can indicate if you have any other revenue sources. Again, this is a whole number. You can, similar to the previous budget page, you can add in any comments explaining further what those revenue sources are. The same with in-kind amounts. So, if that's donated time, you have donated equipment, things like that. And you can do a bigger breakdown of what the in-kind amounts are here. If you have any other supplemental information, there is an optional comments box. When you are completing your application, I don't know if Tricia stated this or Kevin stated this before, utilize the word template to plan out your answers. Just to kind of mitigate any sort of technical issues that might come up. It would be terrible if you used the application straight, fresh, and then there was some sort of technical issue and you lost all of your answers. I would recommend at least planning out your answers on, a Word template ahead of time and then copy and pasting into the granting portal, the application. Also, I'm sure you saw when it was loading, sometimes with the amount of data that we have, it can take a few seconds for it to save, for it to load. So please, it's a good exercise in patience while you're waiting for the system. Please don't, click the submit or the save button. It will load. If it doesn't, then my email was on the presentation, and I'm sure Tricia and Kevin can share it out afterwards if there's any sort of technical issues. And yeah, I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions for right now. Again, I'm always open to emails and if people have any technical issues.
I'm going to ask you, Kate, to stop sharing for a moment, just so that Kevin can reshare the slide with the QR code. And then just putting my applicant hat on, I have a few questions that I'll ask you, because I'm sure folks will eventually get to the stage once they've let all the info we were talking about on this call marinate, where they're like, oh, I should have asked Kate this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. So, Kate, for some folks, they might need to create their own account so they have access, or maybe they, like as you said, they can't have someone else's account transferred to them. Is there a limit on how many accounts an organization can have on our portal?
I don't believe so. A regular staffing amount is probably fine. There's probably some crazy amount of accounts, but yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
So we can just maybe at this time say that much like Lindsay Lohan said in Mean Girls, the limit does not exist.
Exactly.
So yeah, so what that means is we really encourage folks to have their own account on the portal. I would hate for you to then be chasing after another colleague or executive director or someone at your organization for their login. It's really helpful for you to have your own account, and because of the way the accounts are set up at the very start, all of them are synced in with your organization. So eventually, when you go to the applications page, you'll actually be able to see all of the different areas that different folks from your organization have applied for or been working and collaborating with United Way on, not just Schools Out or Child and Youth. So maybe someone applied for an emergency grant, or if there was an application that came through for food security, You can see that centrally within, even through your own access. Now, Kate, another question here is, when it comes to creating an account, is it best to do it the day before the grant is due or the day the grant is due?
No. Do it as far in advance as possible. Um, just so, if there are any sort of technical issues or, something needs to be checked for whatever reason, we have time to do that. I would recommend on the final day, that's the day that you're, double checking all of your work on your application and submitting it, um, after having a long time to think about your answers and all your responses for it, not starting fresh on that day. So, because, inevitably there's going to be something that comes up just because that's the way technology works these days, right? That something will come up. So,
So we really encourage you, whether you're on the call now or watching this recording later on, to create your account as soon as possible. There is, once you submit the request to create your account, it can take at least a couple business days for someone from our team to approve that your account exists. Hence why we say sooner rather than later is good. And you can do so by either scanning this QR code or you can go directly to the website resources.uwbc.ca to get started. All right. Are there any other technical or portal related questions that Kate can address at this time?
no. Okay. Again, I'm always available in my email if anything comes up as you're trying to set up an account or later on when you're doing your application. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. And let's head to the next slide here. And so there are a couple of guiding principles that I want to speak to here that we want you to keep in mind as you're putting together your Schools Out program proposals. The first being the guiding principle of trust-based philanthropy. So United Way BC is really grounded in reciprocity and collaborating with our community partners. What this means is that as a Schools Out partner, if you're approved, then we see you as experts within your own community. You would know the children, the families that you're seeking to engage, the realities really better than anyone. And our role as United Way BC is not to micromanage, but to work on removing barriers so that you can be doing the best work that you need to be doing in community. And this is one of the reasons why we focus on relationships over transactions. So funding and collaborating with United Way for Schools Out, it's not about a transaction, it's not about compliance, it's about partnership. And partnership is a two-way street. So we would expect the relationship to be reciprocal, where learning, feedback, as well as accountability is flowing within both directions. And this can show up in a few different ways in practice, but ultimately, what it involves is communication and keeping an open door. And so we would really be looking for partners that can agree to make a commitment to listen and also to share feedback with United Way. And we in turn can commit to doing that back your way as well. Now, the second guiding principle we want you to keep in mind is the principle of nothing about us without us. And so, what that means is that decisions and the work with Schools Out, for example, that's happening, it should never be made without the voices of those who are most impacted. And so, we really hope that as these program proposals are being put together, the children, the youth, the families, even the frontline staff that you're thinking about engaging, they're not just really participants, but they're co-creators for this Schools Out solution, for this Schools Out engagement. And lived experience is really a form of expertise that carries equal weight to a lot of data, to a lot of policy and strategy as well. So the expectation would be that as you're putting together this program proposal, you're really valuing and lifting up that lived experience in your Schools Out program. And ultimately, this is what will make your Schools Out program more relevant, more inclusive, and more effective, as well as championing dignity and agency and leadership in the folks that you're seeking to serve. So when you're bringing these two principles together of trust-based philanthropy and nothing about us without us, think of them as how you work with partners and how you work with communities. And together, these two principles can help ensure that your Schools Out program is not just a funded program, but it's going to be a shared movement that's grounded in respect, equity, and lived experience for all of the folks that are involved. Next slide here. All right, final points. So point number one here is please do use the Word template to draft your Schools Out program proposal responses ahead of time. We always find it's helpful to draft in the Word document, and then you can copy and paste into the online portal. This will help you avoid losing any work. I mean, if there was a power outage or something, I would hate for you to be in a position where you lose all those beautiful thoughts. So please do use the template. The template will be available along with a recording of this session on our website, uwbc.ca/program/grants. The second thing to iterate here is that of branding alignment. Please ensure that your program name includes the phrase Schools Out, and be prepared in your program proposal to demonstrate how you plan to recognize United Way BC as a key partner with your Schools Out program. We mentioned this earlier, but I'll reiterate it. Please do pay attention to the budget section of your program proposal. Be as detail-oriented as you can be. And that can even include in the in-kind section of the budget, where maybe, for example, you've got some great pull with Cobb's Bread, and Cobb's Bread has agreed to donate some loaves of bread. You'll want to really shout that out in the in-kind section of your budget, or if you have a great collaboration with a school district partner or another partner that is providing the space for the program in kind, that'll be something that you want to shout out in that section. So really do pay attention to your budget. There is a section of the proposal in the portal where you can upload supporting documents. This is where we tell folks that it's a great opportunity to connect with those community leaders, community partners, school district partners about providing letters of support for your program. And really do take advantage of the ability that you have to upload supporting documents into the portal as a part of your proposal. Our reviewers for the proposals love reading letters of support, so we encourage you to take advantage of that. And last but not least, we recognize there's a lot of information that you've heard today. You're going to need some time to think through all of that. And inevitably, later on, you're going to have some more specific questions related to your community, your agency, and what your vision looks like for implementing Schools Out. I encourage you to send me an email. My email's right there, trishad@uwbc.ca. I would love to have a one-on-one meeting with you ahead of you submitting your proposal, where you can share with me what your vision looks like, and we can talk through any of those questions and curiosities that you might have about applying, and I can provide you with any guidance of what our grant reviewers will really be looking at as well when it comes to reading through the proposals. So I'd love to have one-on-ones with you, and please do not hesitate to reach out to me and schedule that conversation. All right, I think we've made it to the end. I think we can stop sharing, and Kevin, I'll ask you to stop the recording, and we have a few moments, so